G'day and welcome to Foord Offroad. Today we have my 2007 Toyota Hilux and we're going to do a full service on it. So this has 205,000 Ks. I like to service the car, well, I like to service my cars every 5,000 Ks for diesel and every 7,500 Ks for petrol. So first thing, just warm the car up a little bit, run it for 5 minutes or so. The things we're going to use for this service is a service kit, Repco service kit, which has an air filter, an oil filter and a fuel filter in it. You can get them with cabin filters. It's the part number if anyone wants it. But I had a cabin filter left over from last time, so we're going to use a Ryco one. Some HPR 10, 7 litres of it exactly, and some rags, some gloves and just a toolkit. Car's warmed up, we can pop the bonnet. The first thing we're going to change is the cabin filter, which a lot of people don't even know exists and forget about it and never get changed and then complain their aircon doesn't work. So to change the cabin filter, we're going to remove the glove box. Just 2 clips and then 2 clips that clips off that. And you see in there, got this clip there, slides out, and there's the cabin filter. That filters all the air that's going into the aircon. So it gets all dirty in between it. A little arrow on it. Poke that back in there. Glove box back in. There's 2 little clips. Come over to the oil filter, and just a quick tip: if you punch a hole in the top of the oil filter, or a screwdriver or something, punch a hole in top of it, then the oil will completely drain out of it, and when you unscrew it, no oil will spill down the side of the engine. So I like to put one in the side and then one in the centre, just to make sure it fully drains out, and then when we unscrew it you won't get a puddle on the ground. Well, that's the idea anyway. Okay, now we're going to change the air filter. Now first off, we pull the airflow sensor out. You should, every single time you change the air filter or clean the air filter, you should also clean the airflow sensor. Don't blow it off with air or anything, just spray with contact cleaner and you're done. These three clips, 2 on top, 1 on the bottom to change the air filter. What is that? The Easter Bunny's bean. A lot of people will only change their filters every 20 or 30,000 Ks. I like to put new filters in every 10 and just clean them every 5. Oil filter gets changed every single time you service the car. So new, if there's mud and stuff in the airbox, empty it out. Otherwise you just put a new filter in with old shit. Clips back on. Clean airflow sensor back in. If you have a catch can, empty it. If you don't, then just skip forwards 30 seconds or so for the next bit. Emptied every single time you service the car, and the filter needs to be replaced every 20,000 Ks. This one's only been on the car 10,000, so I'm just emptying it for now. Okay, next we're going to go under the car and drain the oil. If you have to, take the bash plate off. Sump plug is up in there, 14mm. Make sure your container holds more than 7 litres, because that's how much is going to come out. Actually, I don't know if this one does, I hope it does. One way to find out. This is the most important part of the service, is the sticker, because this is my own car, right? But if you're doing this for somebody else and you don't change the sticker, they're going to think you didn't service it. Put some washer additive in there if you've got any. Oh, this isn't going well. That up. And this bottle says coolant, but it's not. It's just water for anyone. It says, well, you put water, coolant in the washer bottle. No, I didn't. It's just water. Check your brake fluid level. Check the drive belt. Make sure it's not cracked. It is pretty cracked. I probably should replace that. Get one from Repco. Replace that later. Our steering fluid is right on the mark. I'm going to go to the back, hop underneath it, undo the plug and check the rear diff oil, which will be fine because I changed it last time, but you still got to check. So check rear diff if it's up. It's got to be just on the level, so just put your finger in. See how nice and clean that is. And again, while you're under, have a bit of a look, see if anything's worn out. Do that back up pretty tight. Notice my shock is worn out. I'll be replacing them soon. I've also got a set of Holden Colorado springs. I'll be doing a video on how to do the Holden Colorado rear spring conversion as well when I get around to it. It's the same thing on the transfer case. Undo that plug. See where the oil level's at. When you're undoing these plugs, try to always use a single hex socket. Don't use a shit one or you round them off because they normally are very, very tight. So it's starting to drip out. And again, that's very clean because I replaced it last time at 200,000 Ks. Driveline oils, rear diff, I like to replace every 20,000. Transfer case and front diff can go about 50 or 60,000, sometimes even more. And the auto trans fluid is every 100,000 Ks. So front diff, check front diff oil. I'm not going to do it, I'm just going to show you because I've done it last time. There's a little 10mm Allen key bit up in there somewhere, there it is. Which undo, it's a pain in the ass to get to, so I'm not going to do it because I've already changed it. And again, you check the front drive shaft unis and grease them as well. So check them that way and that way, so just if you can rattle it up and down, or if you can rattle it side to side, then they're worn out. And they've got little grease nipples in them if you pump grease in them with a grease gun. While we're under here, just have a quick glance at your brake pads, see how much you've got left on them on both sides. Okay, now we're going to go to the back of the car, jack it up, and put the axle on some jack stands. Wheels up and remove the drum and check the rear brakes. And also when we put them back on, we're going to adjust the rear brake. It seems every single person that owns a Hilux says the handbrake doesn't work. And that's probably because they've never adjusted or even checked the rear brakes. Every single service you need to pull the rear drum off and check your rear brakes and check that your wheel cylinders aren't leaking. Put the wheel back on and adjust them so your handbrake continues to work and your rear brakes work the way they're supposed to. Before we can remove the drums, we need to make sure the handbrake is off And we might just put it in neutral as well. Okay, so to remove these drums, there's a lot of holes around. 2 of them are threaded. Just an M8 bolt in one of them. See what I do? It just starts to pull on it and then give it some taps. Just keep creeping. If it's on there too tight, it won't pop forwards, and then you'll have to back the brake off and then pull it off. Because if you just continue to pull on it, like that's come over the shoes now. See, it's, you can't see, where's my torch? See, it's come over the shoe, so it's sliding off slowly. If you continue to pull on it and that shoe is stuck inside the drum, you'll break all the little clips in there. So that's when you need to back it off through a little hole in the back that we'll adjust it up with a little bit later on. And then once you back it off, it should slide off very easily. So that's that. Pull back these 2 little boots, just leave it back, have a quick look. You get what you're looking for when you do this is if any brake fluid comes out. Brake fluid, if that's wet in there at all, it means they're leaking and they need to be replaced. Because as well as checking how much is actually left on them, which when they get pretty close to that you want to replace them, but as well as checking how much is left, we're checking to see if they have any big slits in them. Same as inside of this, so it's nice and smooth, that's good. If you do a lot of mud driving, it's likely to have a lot of slits in them and your brakes will wear out a lot quicker. So this back pad here, this is what I was talking about on the other side, we're checking for grooves. So this one's got a whole lot of grooves, that pad's, even though there's a lot left on it, that's going to be worn out pretty soon. So I'll probably replace that next service or in 10,000 Ks at least. The inside of the drum is still nice and smooth though. Okay, now we've got the wheel back on. Make sure it's still off the ground. You can still turn it. The handbrake's not on and it's not in park. That little hole there. Inside of that, there is, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, inside of that, there's a little wheel, little spiked wheel that we're going to turn to adjust the tension on the handbrake shoes. Okay, so once you've found which way that turns, it'll only turn one way easily. So just give it a couple of clicks. Helps if you've got a shorter screwdriver. Couple of clicks. Spin the wheel. See how hard it is to spin the wheel. Once you start to hear the shoes grab, you start to feel the shoes grab and try and stop the wheel from turning. That's when it's tight enough. Now we're going to change the oil filter, get a little claw thing. As long as the sealing surface is spotless, I like to use a little bit of old oil. Actually I'd like to use Vaseline, but I don't have any. Just it makes it easier to screw on and no chance of the seal grabbing. Screw that one on there and do it up FT spec with your hand. Not FT spec, just as tight as you can with your hand. If you're a bodybuilder or something, go easy. If you're a normal bloke, just do it up with your hand. Okay, now we're going to put oil in it. This Penrite comes in 5, 7 or 10 litre bottles, which is really convenient because these engines take 10 litres. Oh, sorry, 7 litres. Make a funnel if you don't have a funnel. Get it in there. And fill it up. Now, if you've put 7 litres in, that's what this engine takes. You shouldn't need to check it, but for the purpose of the video, check how much oil is in there before you start the car. Okay, now we're going to start the car. And you see the oil light. Start it and that'll stay on for a bit, and once that goes out, we've got oil pressure. If that light stays on for ages, then you got a problem. So once that goes off, just run it for 10 or 15 more seconds and then you can turn it off. Some people think you need to run them for 5 or 10 minutes after changing the oil, but as soon as that light goes out, you've got oil pressure. Just give it a little bit longer and then it's good. And now we're going to change the fuel filter. Okay, to remove the fuel filter, first up, I prefer to use hose clamps, except I don't have, all my tools are at work. I'm doing this with the budget toolkit. So you're going to clamp the out one, undo that plug, clamp the outline, that's supply, that's to the injector pump. Take the clamp off, undo the other one, to get this out, you literally just pull it up. That's how to remove the fuel filter. Now we're going to change the filter element. Take note of where these two are pointing, because they've got to be pointing the same spot when you put them back in, or the hoses won't go in the right spot. So this bit turns, that's undone, top pops off. So old and new. See if there's any dirt, always empty that anyway, there's a little bit of dirt in there. I'm going to empty it and then clean it out with carby cleaner. So you get a new O-ring on there, carby cleaner evaporates itself, so you don't have to worry about blowing it out or anything. It'll be right. Back into the rice. New filter in. Doesn't matter which way it goes in as long as you've got the new O-rings. Top back on. And there's a whole heap of places these bits can go, so make sure you put it back in the same spot. Which is helpful because if you are putting a second fuel filter in and you need this to be around here, you can just pull it off and turn it. Pull this back up. Till it won't. Just reverse process of pulling it out. You might be wondering why I didn't change a fuel filter before when I changed the oil filter. And that's because if you don't clamp these lines off properly, or if the fuel gets out, if the lines runs back down the lines, when you go to start it, it's going to crank over for a while, and you don't want to be cranking your engine over with no oil pressure, because that's going to do some damage. So I like to do the rest of the service first, and the last thing I do is the fuel filter. Do that on petrol cars as well, not just diesel cars. Even though it does have a primer, that's still the way I like to do it, just to make sure that you're not cranking your engine over for ages with no oil pressure. So before we put the to the injector pump line on, once you get diesel, put it on. Clamp off, prime, just keep pumping it up till it gets real hard, and go to the car wash after you're done, especially if this is somebody else's car and you're servicing it. Go to the car wash after you're done and make sure it's spotless, they can't tell that you've spilled. Okay, so we've primed the fuel filter. If you did not clamp them, it's going to crank over for ages before it started, but we clamped that line, so it should just start. Just leave it running for 30 seconds or so. And once we turn it off, we're going to wait a couple of minutes, clean up all our stuff, and then pre-check the oil level. So that's how we do a full service on a Toyota Hilux. This is the 4-cylinder turbo diesel 1KD, the 3 litre. Same principle for the Toyota Prado. Well, exact same procedure for the Toyota Prado with the 1KD engine. So thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learnt something. In a future episode, we have a auto trans service to do on this car, as well as a full intake manifold removal, clean out the intake manifold, clean out the AGR, and we might remove the AGR altogether. I haven't fully decided yet. Anyway, subscribe and check out Foord Offroad to see that content, and follow on Instagram. Quick note at the end of the video, just because you watch this does not make you qualified to work on a vehicle. If you have no idea what you're doing, a YouTube video is not a guide. If you don't know what you're doing, take it to a mechanic. If you have some mechanical knowledge, you should be able to do a service by yourself. If for any reason you destroy your engine, it is not my fault, it's yours. Thanks, Easter Bunny.